So does Zimmer finally have his guys? Does Mike Zimmer finally have this defense looking the way we've been dreaming it could ever since the beginning of last year when we signed Yannick Ngakoue? We had this massive dream that we're going to have the two best pass rushers in the league, and it actually went a full 180 and we were terrible last year. That's not the topic of today's video, though. I'm going to be describing to you guys why I think the Minnesota Vikings defense has a serious chance to be special in this upcoming year. And honestly, it is all credit to Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer to completely 180, 360, whatever it may be, this Minnesota Vikings defense from probably being a bottom 3, bottom 4 defense in the last 4 weeks of the season. Honestly, probably the worst defense in the league during the second half of the season. Just injuries, opt-outs, everything. I'm going to be talking to you guys about why I think this defense is going to be special. It's going to be top 10, possibly top 5. Let's talk about it. So I'm making this video. Obviously, we got the big news of Bashaud, Breeland, the cornerback from the Kansas City Chiefs, who is somebody who is a corner in the league. He honestly, his name gets thrown around a lot. You know, he's been in big-time games. He's been in Super Bowls. He's been in AFC championships, which is mainly what I like. Listen, this Vikings defense, it has a ton of talent, and now the experience factor. It's crazy if you look at this defense from where it was last year, Week 17. That team they rolled out against the Detroit Lions. And even we could go back because you might say, you know, Week 17, who cares? It's the last week of the year. It doesn't matter. Let's just go back to Week 16, that Christmas Day game versus the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans when it was just a wipeout. It was Alvin Kamara running down the Vikings' throats the entire game. And now you look at the defense we might roll out Week 1 this year. You're adding in Eric Kendricks already, who, listen, he gets disrespected like no linebacker has ever in the National Football League. Eric Kendricks, there's going to be a video out this week on, and this is going to be my third time making an Eric Kendricks is underrated video because people in the National Football League don't really understand what he does, and it really drives me crazy because he's up there with the Bobby Wagners, with the Fred Warners, with the middle linebackers who are considered elite in the world. It was only 2 years ago he was an All-Pro, and he had possibly 2 of the best playoff games I've seen a linebacker have against the Saints and then even against the 49ers. You're adding in Eric Kendricks. You're adding in Danielle Hunter, who is one of the most young and upcoming pass rushers in the league, quickest NFL player to 50 sacks in his career, bringing in Michael Pierce. People also don't understand the 3 technique. Listen, they eat up blocks. They eat up blocks for Eric Kendricks. They eat up blocks for Danielle Hunter. That's a whole nother story. And then you add in a young DJ Wonnum, Shamar Stephen. We got this Patrick Jones guy in the third who I love out of Pittsburgh, who I think he could play right away as a rookie if they trust him and if he develops fast. Then, listen, Anthony Barr, we all have our thoughts on Barr. But listen, he's a stud and he's a player. He's a guy who can go make plays. That is the main point. The Vikings have a ton of playmakers now coming back. I just named 5 to 6 guys who are coming back. I didn't even mention the free agent. Oh, my God. All right, I am leaving that in the video. My golf club set just fell right behind me. We're going to keep going. We'll keep that reaction. Anyways, the Vikings are also adding back free agents. Dalvin Tomlinson, Patrick Peterson. You look at those guys. You might be saying, Pat Pete's washed up. And honestly, if you're not a Vikings fan, you might be saying, who the hell is Dalvin Tomlinson? Dalvin Tomlinson is another interior 3 technique who's up and coming. He got 2 years, $22 million, I think. From a Minnesota Vikings team who doesn't really like to drop the bag on defensive linemen in free agency, they gave him $11 million a year. Him under Andre Patterson, it's going to be crazy. That D-line is going to be nuts. And now this is what I'm talking about with experience. You add in a guy like Bashaud Breeland and Patrick Peterson, 2 veteran guys in the secondary with Harrison Smith. So many times last year, you look around on that Vikings defense and you look at the body language after the play. Harrison Smith looked exhausted after every single play, and listen, he wasn't physically exhausted. He was mentally drained after every single play, and I noticed it keep going throughout the season. You watch his body language, it progressively gets worse throughout the season, and honestly, I don't even blame him. I'm a huge body language guy. You guys know this. I think body language matters so much in sports. I think it's a huge contribution to winning and losing, just something simple. But when you have Harrison Smith, he's had to teach all these young guys over and over and over again. And plus he had an Anthony Harris who didn't really give a shit last year. It was just a combination of the perfect storm. So Mike Zimmer, Rick Spielman brought in Pat Pete. I know he's not who he used to be. It's not the point, though. He's a leader, he has experience, and he can still play the inside corner position. Yeah, he got toasted last year because they were trying to throw Patrick Peterson on DK Metcalf, which that's not who he is anymore. They try to throw him on on the top receivers in the league. That just doesn't work anymore with Pat Pete. You put him in the inside, Zimmer's gonna get the most out of him. You bring in a Bashaud Breeland, an outside corner, to help Cameron Dantzler kind of come into his own. Side note, I think this probably means Jeff Gladney's not playing this year. We'll get into that in a later video. But you added in Bashaud Breeland. So now if you look at this defense, for defense to be special, you got to have an edge rush or have a pass rush. I think that is the number one thing because the Vikings did not last year. They had 24 sacks. Jared Allen, just context, had 22 and a half sacks about like 10 years ago by just him. Little context for how bad that was. So in my opinion, you need to have a pass rush. That's the number one thing in the in the NFL. You need that pass rush to have elite defense. It seems like they could have a very good pass rush. Listen, this has so much riding on Danielle Hunter. Which is why, listen, the D-line and Andre Patterson, I just think they're going to figure it out. Andre Patterson's the best D-line coach in the league. He's bringing back his guys. They're adding in 2-3 techniques, and he is thrilled about this. Then you also need some linebackers that know how to fly around. We got Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr. In my opinion, I'm going to make a video about this also this week. I don't think they're going to run 3 linebackers. I think they might go to a 4-2 and just run 6 guys and just have a bunch of corners out there who can play. Because Cameron Dantzler, he likes to get downhill. Harrison Smith likes to get downhill. I think the Vikings might try to do something different. But you got linebackers that can fly around and get to the running back and cover the running back and cover tight ends. Then you got this secondary, which was probably the biggest problem last year. And has been the biggest problem over the past 2 years, ever since the Xavier Rhodes decline and the cornerback decline for the Minnesota Vikings. So you got an up-and-coming Cameron Dantzler, who I think top 10 corner in the league, possibly next year. He was a top 5 corner in the second half of last season, according to PFF. Patrick Peterson, veteran guy, experience, been playing against the best receivers in the league. He can get it done. Bashaud Breeland, ton of talent. He's a dude who likes to bet on himself. Kansas City didn't want to pay him. Bring him over here. We'll see what he got. Listen, ton of experience, ton of reps against big-time players. That's what we need. And then listen, you need a ball hawk in the secondary. You need a guy who's going to go make plays. And that's Harrison Smith. He's going to have probably the most turnovers he's had in his entire career next year. I think this defense is going to have big things. Listen, best way to help me out, beat the YouTube algorithm, get my channel out to more Vikings fans. Leave a like and comment down below. Commenting down below makes my day. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Vikings defense, I'll be banging on this table until week 1 that they're going to be special this year. Possibly top 5. Talk to you guys later, Skol Vikes.